Welcome to Straight Talk and Retirement, your no-hype source for financial advice and making informed choices about your retirement planning. Get on the phone to talk today at 314-931-5877 or text your question to 84126.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Now, here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, hello, St. Louis, and welcome to Straight Talk on Retirement, your live and local St. Louis's favorite financial call-in show. I'm Aaron Lapidus, president of JBL Financial Services, financial planner and wealth manager, and I'm joined this week and every single week by my dad, Jeff Lapidus, wealth manager and retirement coach, and my husband, Robert Markham, our life insurance and fixed annuity sales specialist.
Good morning.
Good morning, babe.
Good morning. We help our clients make smart choices about their money. The way we do that is by designing a game plan, a written step-by-step strategy, a real game plan with several goals in mind.
First is to preserve, protect, and prudently grow the assets our clients have taken their entire lifetimes to accumulate.
Second is to provide an income stream they can rely on so they can do all the things they want in retirement.
And third is cost-effectively addressing their health care needs, like helping individuals enroll in Medicare and choosing the right plan to couple with their Medicare coverage.
And then when they're done enjoying their assets during their lifetime, we show them how to pass them on to the people they love, whether it's their spouses or children, grandchildren, churches, or charities, whoever it might be, without Uncle Sam or the tax courts taking a big bite out of their money. And as their wealth managers, Aaron, Rob, and I watch their money every single day to make sure they're staying on track. And that's why they call us the retirement coaches. Gang, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to everybody out in Radio Land. Thanks so much for tuning into our 2-hour extravaganza.
That's right.
Every single week from 9 to 11 here on the Big 550 KTRS. We appreciate you taking your time and spending it with us. You know we're live and local. Our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the KTRS text line. And as a reminder, there's lots of ways that you can keep in touch with Aaron and Rob and I during the week.
That's right. Just log on to our website, jblfinancial.com. You can click on the Contact Us button and request a coaching session, financial, Medicare, or both. Or you can click on the Sign Up button that appears as a pop-up on almost every page that says sign up for our monthly newsletter. We call it the Coach's Corner. Rob keeps the last 6 to 12 months archived, but he has our brand new, our second.
Yeah, we're speed running this month. It's already a week old.
Which means we're only a few weeks away from my favorite holiday.
Thanksgiving.
Gobble, gobble.
That's what we do.
That's right. Tell us a little bit about what's in our November newsletter.
Got some great articles in the November 2025 newsletter. First one being traditional versus Roth. IRA preference differs by generations. Got a great infographic there, and you can see that by a 2-to-1 margin, Generation Z prefers Roth to traditional, and baby boomers by almost a reverse 2-to-1 prefer traditional to Roth. And one thing I found interesting is overall about 33% of U.S. households own traditional IRAs compared to quickly reaching parity, 26% now own Roths. So that was rather interesting. And our next article, Balancing Life in the Sandwich Generation. The sandwich generation refers to middle-aged adults that are at the same time caring for their own children and their aging parents. This piece explores ways to achieve a balance between the two. One of those ways is, by creating limits on, there's only so many hours in the day, there's only so much you can do. So you have to have clearly defined limits, lest you won't have any time for the most important person, yourself. And an all-hands-on-deck approach certainly can help if you have other family members willing to help out, siblings. Many hands in the pile creates lighter work.
Rob, there's no discussion of the boat that never docks. Is there on that one?
The boat that never
That's where you put your loved ones that need extra attention. Maybe more than you're willing to give.
Not really.
It's like a cruise that...
It's a train that never pulls into a station?
Correct. Well, and I just think that's funny because we have heard several of our clients. I think I used to hear a lot about the Alaskan cruises, which I've heard are fabulous. But now we have 2 clients that are going on like 3-month-long cruises, like around the world. Another couple of ours has recently given up their home, so they are nomads now. They've got the RV. They're going to travel the country, but also they are world travelers. Every time they come in, every 3 months, they have a whole new list of countries that they've been to. So they're going to start doing those repositioning cruises, things like that.
Every time I see one of those RVs on the road, I'm always amazed. And, I mean, how do you drive that thing? I mean, I have a hard enough time keeping my Mazda in between the lines.
I think the number one rule is don't back up.
That's what I've been told. Rule number 2 is everything breaks.
So our nomad clients, they brought in a picture of, it's not an RV, it's, what is it called when you hitch it to the car and you pull it?
Oh,
like a camper.
Fifth wheel.
Something.
Camper.
Yeah, something like that. So they showed it to me, and then in true mom fashion, I was like, so you sleep in that? And they're like, "Oh no, Aaron, silly! We pull it into a hotel and go sleep there." Of course, no. They've got the nice long. It's like 30 foot or something like that, 33 feet.
It's a dragger.
Yeah, looks nice. I haven't been inside yet.
Well, all I can tell you is that our friends, I don't call them the nomads, but the homeless.
They call themselves
the homeless,
nomads,
as it would be. We were in Tucson one Christmas, and they pulled in. We hadn't seen I call it the buggy.
The buggy?
So we hadn't seen their buggy. And it's a 40-footer. So
that's a big one.
Yes.
But that's the RV. Like, they drive it. It is a car plus.
It's a bus. And so we got into it. And, it was very nice. It has a bedroom, bath, and all that, obviously.
Kitchen.
So your mom looks at me and she goes, Never do this. And so a couple of years go by, and that's fine. So when we were driving to Arizona, and obviously we've driven to California as well, we're seeing all these RVs on the road, and they have the annual RV show. And it's like, let's go check them out. So we start with the buses. Your mom gets up into the bus, and she's been watching all the shows on TV about the really nice ones. The rock star ones. They're all
with
wooded,
like the pop outs and stuff,
etc. And she gets in there and she looks into the cockpit, or where the driver's side. There's 40,000 dials, and she goes, "There is no way that I could ever drive this, and there's no way I'm getting in if you're driving this." So I'm like, okay.
I knew that was coming.
I'm like, okay. So we make our way all the way down to the Class Cs, which are basically just big minivans, And she goes, "Can we sleep in this?" Oh yeah, honey. Look, it's got generators, a bedroom in the back, and all this. She said, "This would be great. You could be driving us, and the dog and I will be in the back watching television, and etc." I said, "This just sounds like a lot of fun."
A part-time job in retirement. You could be the chauffeur.
Well, I'm already the chauffeur full-time, but in either case, it's fun, and we do have clients that are actually they're trying this, and some of them even take our advice and rent an RV, see how much they like it.
Well, that's a wonderful idea, because those things are not cheap, and it's better to look before you leap and what if you buy one and you wind up spending quite a bit of money, and then, a year, 2 years into it, you're like, really, this isn't for me.
It seems like everybody has a used RV.
Yeah.
You're always buying somebody else's, and that's fine, but you're right. It's when you're trading out your home for something else, I would say, try it before you buy it.
Well, I've heard you say many, many times, before you buy that house in that new location that you're just going to love, why don't you rent for 6 months and just, get the lay of the land before you go ahead and make the plunge?
Well, I think it makes sense, because obviously you don't really know where your social patterns are running. Where's the doctor? Where's the gym you're going to go to? Where's some of the hospital? Where's
the restaurants you like,
etc. So it's always good to do that.
Yep. And
our next article: Are you prepared for the high cost of dying? Well, if you're not prepared, they'll dig you up.
This is quite a happy newsletter you constructed for November.
Right around the holidays. Here comes Rob with his sack of coal. In 2021, Americans spent $430 million on end-of-life care. The average cost of hospital care in the final months, on average, are more than $32,000 a year. And this brings up the importance of planning. Costs associated with end-of-life care, funeral arrangements, administrative costs, and major and often overlooked expenses. By planning ahead, you can ensure that your financial hardship does not compound the death of a loved one.
Good thinking.
Our last article, beneficiary designation. Who gets the money?
I sense a theme to the back half of the newsletter.
First, it's about the high cost of death, and then
if there's anything left, who gets it?
Who can sword fight?
Why are you guys staring at me? I'm just kidding.
You already told us you want to be in the KFC bucket or something.
Uh-huh.
Low cost of dying for you.
No.
The end of the year is usually a time when most families get together and celebrate the holidays, and it would be a perfect time to think about your beneficiary designations and is everything titled correctly? Maybe, not everything has to be a bad thing. Maybe there's been an addition to the family that you want reflected in your documents. It doesn't always have to be a subtraction.
I swear I thought you were setting up for another joke. I was just waiting for it.
Well,
Thank you for being serious.
No, Rob, let me give you a good example of this. Most folks, when they're choosing their beneficiary designation, especially on the contingents, because typically you're going to name your spouse as the beneficiary on most of your accounts. But you're naming the kids the contingent beneficiaries. You usually have a choice of either pro rata or per stirpes. Pro rata means is that if somebody dies, it goes to the other person. Per stirpes means it stays in the family tree. Well, what if somebody gets married or you have a new grandchild and you want those funds for that beneficiary to go and stay in that family tree versus going to a sibling?
So, quick question on the per stirpes. So let's just use a quick example. For example, Jody and myself, since there's two of us sisters, if it is labeled per stirpes for each of us, does that mean if something happened to me that Rob would receive the inheritance, it's not our children? Rob first would, if Rob was still living, he would receive it, not the children.
Right, but versus your sister, which would be pro rata.
Would get up 100% if it went pro rata.
That's correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Just to clarify. So, one, this is a way, and interesting that you say that because I just had this conversation with a little bit of a different tone with two of our clients last week who asked me, how do we know if our trust is set up so that if something happened to our daughter, the money would go to our son, not to our son-in-law? And so I did say, well, obviously we want to go back to the attorney to have him review the trust, but you do want to take a look at if it is designated within the trust per stirpes or pro rata.
Well, actually, those would be, I think they're generically called legacy provisions.
Oh, gotcha.
Which
Inside the trust.
Which is, I love my daughter, I don't love my son-in-law. So what happens is, those assets would then probably be retained in a trust for the benefit of grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's how you bypass it. But you can't do that otherwise with normal beneficiary designations.
Certainly.
Well, given the importance of beneficiary designations, I know in almost all of our reviews, it's one of our first moves on the chessboard. Hey, has anything changed? Is there any? Are these still the operating orders that we have as far as your accounts go? Because we want to make sure that everything is titled correctly, and that we're revisiting this in a timely fashion because we know that life comes at you fast and things do change.
And we like to do a general beneficiary review like every 2 years with everybody.
Absolutely.
Which is a good thing to do, but it's important to obviously make your financial advisor, if you're using one, aware of changes so they can make these paperwork changes for you. And again, it's only a signature. So
never a cost to do this, and it will only cost you if you're not doing it.
Right. Easy to do.
And that is your November 2025 newsletter in a nutshell, and you can always get that on the website. Like Aaron said, we keep the last 12 to 18 months on there, so if you want to dive in and check out all the content, you're certainly free to do so.
And, a nice thing is that we find that many of our clients have asked us to forward a copy of this to their children because it really is a good financial planning generalized newsletter. There's nothing for sale other than knowledge. We're happy to give that to you every single month. And, again, it's free, and we're happy to send it by email. So easy to do. Go to our website, jblfinancial.com, click on the Contact Us section, or click on the floating icon as you see it on every page.
I think in all the time I've been doing the newsletter, the one story that really generated, I mean, I was getting emails, was the tipping.
Oh,
Do
yes,
you remember
the
that?
high cost of tipping.
It was, that real, and it was right around the end of COVID where, everyone was just used to, I want my gratuity, and they were just like, there was a lot of pushback on that. Just funny the things you remember about the newsletter as I'm doing it.
Well, it's curious because obviously we're starting to see more tipping being requested at fast food restaurants.
I know you're a big proponent of that. You love to tip at the McDonald's.
Well, McDonald's doesn't ask you for a tip. And guess what?
Yet.
McDonald's doesn't ask. Nobody else is getting it. Kind of silly. But in either case, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the usually hot and heavy KTRS text line.
And we've got a text on, Jack, but we have a caller on the line.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. Kind of a quick general question. And I'm retired now, but for my kids, is it better, they always said do this tax deferred, just do that later. What mechanisms are there where a young person can save now, put that money away, pay give the Caesar what is Caesar's right now and let it grow tax-free after that? What options do you have, or do you even suggest that? Do you still suggest doing the tax deferred?
Well, if you're looking for specifically retirement plan options, then a Roth IRA would give you the opportunity to put money aside, having paid the taxes on it, allowing it to grow. It's called tax deferred because there are still some stipulations on this type of account which would create taxes for the owner. So this is another account, because it's considered a retirement account, that you need to be 59 and a half in order to pull funds from a Roth IRA. Also, the account would need to be in existence for 5 years for those funds to truly come out tax-free. But again, that does put some stipulations on things that maybe young savers would prefer. Maybe they're doing some pre-tax savings through their employer. Maybe they want to start a brokerage account where they do have some flexibility to get at those funds when it's time. They want a down payment on a house. They need to buy the car. They want to start a college savings fund, give some more flexibility. Those I would call tax preferred, because you would never pay taxes on the money contributed, just on the growth if you were to make sales or dividends and interest if that was generated. But I would say on an individual level, I always like to look at tax brackets when we're making decisions on where does it make sense to put the money. Tax deferred is always great because theoretically, you should be able to contribute more to a tax-deferred account because you're not paying taxes. But then again, those have lockups, just like the Roth we talked about. You got to be 59 and a half. So we always talk about with young savers is first having enough savings so you are comfortable to be able to invest. So having that emergency fund available to you first, then moving on to either retirement plan savings or potentially brokerage accounts, so some after-tax savings.
Yeah, I mean, liquidity is a big issue here.
Right. But it seems to me, and again, I'm 60 now, I have no tax deductions to speak of. I don't have any dependents, no interest, that I'm paying on mortgages or anything. And my children, I think, I had a lot more tax breaks when I had 4 kids and a mortgage at the house that I could put money away and still not pay Uncle Sam a whole lot then. And now when I have no real tax advantages, tax deductions that I can write off, that I wish I would have put more into it, like into a Roth as opposed to a 401k. And maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I would also say you want to consider the fact that the standard deduction, Steve, I don't know if you're married, but, it's risen to $30,000 this year for couples that are filing jointly. So in many cases, even when people had the opportunity to itemize deductions, they might not have even gotten to that $30,000 level. Also, most likely now that you're retired, congratulations, your income has probably dropped significantly, even maintaining that same standard of living, because you never lived off the gross income that you received. You were always living off of, after, as you said, paid Caesar his due, you were living off of that plus whatever you were saving on the side. So, and Social Security has some tax advantages that ordinary income and wages don't have.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the only thing I would add to this is that when you were younger and you were supporting dependent children, you were broke, so you didn't have the money to put it away. And then number two is that actually IRAs, Roths, etc., weren't available until 1990. So based on your age, they really weren't available to you when you were younger. And I think the big deal here is that we know with your children, they have an opportunity to put away up to $18,000 a year on a pre-tax basis, which would be great, but they can't afford to do it. So having them start, as Aaron said, there's a sequence here. Which is making sure you have enough emergency savings to start so that you're in a position where you don't have to use your credit cards, you don't have to invade your retirement account, buy loans, etc. For liquidity purposes. That's number one. Number two is then go to your company, maximize, at least putting in as much as your company match, if they are matching your retirement plan contributions. And then finally, some excess dollars. There's nothing wrong with beginning to invest after tax, so that you're creating a war chest of assets that can be available either for future consumption or, frankly, to just improve your net worth. But we do appreciate your call this morning. We hope you have a great day.
Thank you. I will tell you the hardest thing was when I retired, and it's something my dad taught me. The hardest thing was not learning to not go to work. It's that I don't have money I just lived on savings. I loved seeing how little I could get by on and put that into savings. And that's the hardest thing, just not having that money coming in every week for that. Sounds crazy, but it is the truth. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Thanks so much for your call this morning.
And we've got a texter on the line. Texter writes, relevant to note that you can access Roth contributions anytime without penalty. I wish that were the case.
It may be without penalty, but you will be paying taxes if you haven't met the requirements of being over 59 and a half and having...
On the interest component.
On the interest component and having it been in existence for 5 years. So in our minds, if you're contributing to Roth, the idea is that you are setting it aside for retirement, which is why we talked about a hierarchy of savings before we get to investing and even before we get to potentially retirement account savings, because there's no reason to shoot yourself in the foot with the savings you've created or the tax-deferred growth that you've created.
If you don't have that emergency bucket and you're constantly having to go into your retirement account, you're taking one step forward to take 3 steps back.
Great point.
And our next texter writes, I am currently looking at alternatives to my Aetna Gold Advantage plan for 2026 in case they don't have BJC in their network. I have found a devoted Medicare plan, HMO, that works very well for me, all doctors' meds and a good dental allowance. Would like to know your opinion of Devoted Healthcare since they are new to the area and do not yet have a star rating.
So Devoted has, I believe, actually been around. It was new to the area last year, which is why we haven't seen their star ratings come out quite yet. They should be released relatively soon. And Rob, you can speak to this. When you are making comparisons, how often are you seeing Devoted come up with the drugs that you're running for our clients?
The issue that I see with Devoted as of right now is that their max out-of-pockets are not as competitive as some of the bigger carriers.
Like United Healthcare seems to be one of the more popular.
Exactly. And the network is not as robust as far as physicians. Like, for instance, when I get a medical questionnaire back and it has 6 or 7 physicians, it's going to be very hard to fit those into a Devoted HMO. And not to pigeonhole Devoted, that's the same issue I would run into with, say, a Humana.
And also with Aetna at this point, if BJC doesn't join the network.
These are companies that are much bigger than Devoted right now, so it's not to say that Devoted is bad, but I think our texter makes a great point. She found her doctors, her meds, and a nice dental allowance that were all involved in that network. That's why we always say, these healthcare choices are personalized to you.
Right.
Where, the voted plan may not work for, a lot of people, but it does work for some people. And for the people that it works for, I would not discourage people from trying it. Now, it is like you said, it is relatively new to the area, so we don't know how, we haven't gotten that feedback as to, how easy is it to use. Are they paying claims in a normal time frame, so on and so forth.
And so what I was going to add to that is I do know about Devoted that one of their primary goals is customer service. So they, very similar to Essence, are a smaller company in that their customer service is localized. So their goal is to be more personalized with their enrollees. And if that is something that is important to you, now that you've met the two qualifications that Rob mentioned, your doctors are in the network, your prescriptions are covered well, it has a few extra benefits that you like or need, then you're going to get a little extra service, which maybe you want or desire. I always like to say that's a nice added benefit, but for our clients in particular, we are the extra service. So if you need help with your plan, Rob or Frank is going to be there to navigate that for you, whereas if you're going it alone, then maybe that is important that you have someone that will be able to help you navigate the system a little better with Devoted versus, one of the national carriers like Aetna or United, where you end up in a call center and maybe you're a little disappointed by that particular service. So, and the other great news, if you are on Medicare Advantage, you have the first 3 months of the year to find out if you really like the Medicare Advantage plan that you are on. So January through March, you still have the opportunity to make an additional change if you want to. So my recommendation, and this is true of when people join Medicare for the first time, or, in this particular example, when you get those 3 additional months to make a choice, use the plan. Find out if you are happy with it January through March. If you find that it's not all that it was cracked up to be, or people are looking at your card and saying, what is this? And that's getting frustrating to you, you would still be able to switch to another Medicare Advantage plan during what is called open enrollment. It's like the second time around again, January through March. So I say, if it fits for you, try it out. Really try it out, and you'll have another opportunity if you decide it's not what fits you the best.
And I would say that kicking the tires on your new plan, or even if you didn't go to a Devoted plan, say you went from, say, Aetna to United, same thing. Kick the tires on the plan, make sure that it is what you thought it was going to be, because you do have that second opportunity to make a change if you feel that you need to.
Could I just make one side comment here?
Sure.
We went through a very similar situation last year with Mercy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, with the networks.
Exactly.
Mercy and Anthem in this instance.
And one thing that folks probably don't know, and maybe they do realize, is that the Medicare component of business for these insurance companies is huge. And they end up making these deals. They always end up making the deal because, as we were talking about this morning, all the other major carriers have already made their peace with
BJC.
And even though they are the big gorilla in the room in terms of healthcare providers in the city, they always make a deal.
We have seen historically that these providers do make deals. I do love that everyone, though, that we have heard from, and that what we are doing for our clients is creating backups. So if this particular deal doesn't get done in time for 2026, I tend to agree with you, Dad. Now that United has signed a 2-year contract with BJC, that leaves Aetna as the last carrier that has no BJC in the network for 26, which means I would say that is putting additional pressure on Aetna to make a deal. Not to mention the fact that they've always had a good relationship, BJC and Aetna, in the past. So all of these things are working in our favor because our goal is that you'll have access to as many physicians as possible. Before we take our first break of this hour, we do have another caller on the line. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for taking my call and for doing the show. I had a quick clarification on the Roth taxation. So if you make contributions, my understanding is you can withdraw those contributions, and as Jeff's clarified, not the interest. The contributions can be withdrawn anytime without penalty.
Yes, that's correct, because they're after tax contributions.
After tax, right. You've already paid the tax.
Right.
And so, yeah, that was what I was – and that was the point, that you can access those without penalty. So if you need the money, you can earn interest, and then if you need it, you can still withdraw the contribution. So that's one clarification there for Rob.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Right.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for the show. Good job.
All right. Why don't we take our first break of the hour? When we get back, we'll be here to answer more of your calls and text messages.
This is Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email at aaron@jblfinancial.com to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Hey, it's John Carney. A lot of conversations with the folks over at Allen Roofing, pretty much asking advice, because I know a lot of people got smacked by that storm, and he had some great advice for people to think about. First off, be careful of who you talk to when you're going to get some work done. Make sure there's an agreement, and the scope of work is laid out in that contract. Also, as you can imagine, a lot of contractors are busy. Give them some time, and you know what? Allen Roofing will come put a tarp on your roof at no charge, even if you don't use them when you get the roof repaired. Also, check the Better Business Bureau, see what the reviews are for contractors that you deal with, and also remember, insurance companies allow up to an entire year from the date of loss to file a claim. So you've got time to get those repairs done and that replacement done. Don't rush it. Just a few tips from the people that know roofing and repairs better than anyone. It's Allen Roofing, online at aroofing.net.
Hey, it's Heidi, and I've only sold 2 houses, but I know how stressful it can be. I also know the team at Lauren Risley Realty makes the entire process as easy as possible. I watched Lauren work with friends and my parents, and I can say she is top-notch. She doesn't just know the market. She knows what to look for in a home, and that includes red flags. And through all of it, she is calm, cool, and kind. So if you're in the market to buy or sell a home, or if you just have a question, call Lauren Risley Realty, 314-775-0684, or go to laurenrisleyrealty.com.
Veterans Day, we do what we do. We go back to Johnny Londoff Chevrolet.
We honor those that have served in our military, and it's become an annual tradition on the Carney Show.
Also on the broadcast that day, also being a Restaurant Tuesday, we'll be visited by Bob Candace from Candici's Restaurant.
We'll see you there.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, welcome back to the show. It's 9:38 here on the Big 550 KTRS. We're having fun. Hour number 1 is flying through. We're here to answer your calls and texts at 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line.
I have a question about the out-of-pocket maximum on Medicare Advantage plans. My current plan is the Aetna Gold Advantage plan, and I've been extremely happy with it. I'm looking at a Humana plan that seems to be a bit better, except for the out-of-pocket maximum, which is $5,000 as opposed to, I believe, the $3,400 for the Gold Advantage plan for 2026. My wife and I have never even come close to the out-of-pocket maximum, so I'm wondering if I should be concerned with a $5,000 out-of-pocket maximum when there's a good chance I'll never make it anywhere close to that. I have an appointment with Frank, and we'll be talking about this with him. Love the show. Thank you. It's a great question. So if you have been on the Aetna Gold Advantage plan, that means that your original, what was the max out of pocket for? It's like
$2,500.
$2,500 for this year?
Yes.
So that means if you were nowhere close to $2,500 this year, Now, we like to use historical experience in terms of your medical consumption to try to help predict, what you might use in the future. That's always not predictive because things can arise that are unforeseen. But I always like to describe the maximum out of pocket as the last benefit the insurance company is giving you. Because if you think about it, you have to spend that $5,000 in this case before they are going to cover you at 100%. So all of those other benefits, co-pays to the doctor, co-insurance if you are admitted to the hospital and need specific testing, your prescriptions, all the extra benefits that they're offering you. Those are the things that you get up front. I like to call them the usage benefits because that's what you're normally using. If those benefits work better for you, in my mind, the max out of pocket on a year-to-year basis is not the most important thing to consider, especially if you are someone that historically is not getting anywhere near your maximum out of pocket. But it is nice to know that you have some protection if something unforeseen would happen. The other piece that I would consider is we're not sure how long you've been on Medicare, but if we went back and said at least a couple of years you've been on Medicare and you're not getting anywhere near that maximum out of pocket, well, that's savings that you created for yourself for a year that maybe you do hit your maximum out of pocket. So in my mind, if we look at your health over a 20, 30-year period, which is projected to be the minimum that you would be on Medicare, most likely, even if you hit that maximum out of pocket one time every 7 years, which is what the Missouri and Illinois average is for Medicare Advantage enrollees, then you've already pre-saved for that time. So that's another reason I really like the Medicare Advantage plans.
Absolutely. I mean, with supplement plans, you're paying the premium, so it's almost like you're front-running the maximum out of pocket because you're making that payment every month and you're on an escalator. So, the average is, 1 in every 7 years. So if you are part of that national average that only hits that 1 in every 7 years, you've banked 6 years of max out of pocket and premium.
That's a great point.
And our next question, hey, when you guys are doing a Medicare review, when you look at the existing policy and then try to find a new policy, what are some of the criteria that you used to determine whether someone should take Aetna to United or Humana, or what are the criteria that you use? Well, first move on the chessboard is what are you taking and who are you seeing?
So do your physicians fit into which network? So we'll look at that. How are your prescriptions covered?
Are they covered in the lowest cost environment? And we're trying to save you as much money. We want to keep the money in your pocket, not the insurance companies. So who is going to enable you to take the prescriptions that you're on, see the physicians you're already seeing, and what is the lowest cost environment to do those things?
Let's say all those things are equal. Let's say someone's on generic meds, they're paying $0, their physicians fit into a couple of networks. What's the next level of criteria that you like to use when you're making a recommendation?
Then we might look at the supplemental benefits.
So maybe dental, if you're someone that needs some dental.
Over the counter, if everything is a wash, if there's 3 different carriers that are that, as you said, they're all covering the doctors, they're all covering the meds, you're not paying any premium, and your meds are covered for free, then, now we can look at, who's got the best goodies,
Also, I would say now that some of the carriers have started to go back to referrals, we might chat with you. Are you more interested in an HMO style plan or a PPO style plan? Meaning, do you want to deal with referrals? Then if you're okay with referrals and you want the extra benefits, we'd say United's a great choice because they've got that really robust dental this year.
Yes.
But their HMO has moved back to referrals requirements, whereas Humana also has a nice dental benefit. Their network's a little smaller.
But they don't
But they don't have referrals.
So if all things are a wash, then we can come back and say, hey, what's more important? Is it X or Y?
And then finally, another piece that I would always consider is that's going to depend on you. Do you have something going on, or do you have something in your medical record that requires maintenance? So, for example, we chatted a few weeks ago about the Aetna policies, where although their maximum out-of-pockets have increased, if you're someone that needs regular scans, maybe you are a cancer survivor, and every year or every 5 years you have to go in for specialty imaging. Well, Aetna has the lowest imaging costs this year So maybe that's a good option for you. So the great thing about Robin is that when you sit down with them, you can have longer conversations about specifically what you're doing, which will help lead them to some of these answers.
Yeah, we just had a nice email exchange with a client who's allergist. That was more important than their primary care physician right now.
Sure.
So, the more information we have about what's important to you when putting eyes on these plans, the better we can tailor our recommendation about what's going to suit you best for 2026.
Man, we've got a few more texts to go.
Yeah, it's the Medicare hour already.
That's right.
And our texter writes, I turned 65 on March 12th. When will Medicare be effective for me?
March 1st. You get 12 free days, or actually you get 12 prepaid days because you've paid in your entire working career to get Medicare. So March 1st is when your effective date will be.
Assuming you've applied for Part B coverage.
Well, you need to apply to have the effective date, but assuming you're applying, March 1st is your effective date.
I had an interesting conversation the other day with a client who is, I think that they're probably 62, 63. They're a couple of years away from Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
And not unusual, they really didn't understand the whole concept of A and B with Medicare. We talk about Medicare, but Medicare is actually Part A and Part B. Part A is the part you're paying for through your payroll deductions.
Mm-hmm.
Part B is the part that you need to elect, and then you get to pay for either directly or through your Social Security payments if you're actually receiving Social Security benefits.
Right. So Medicare Part A is your hospital benefit. I like to call it where your body's at. You're in the hospital, you're in hospice, you're in rehab. So it's your facilities charges. Part B is, they call it the physician's charge, but I think of it as everything else but your prescriptions. So when Medicare was originally created, they only created A and B. The Bush administration added Part D coverage, which added prescription drug benefits to your Medicare benefits, but that sits to the side. So your Part B is everything else but prescriptions and facilities. So that's everything from visits to the doctor to the screws they put in the hip replacement for you if you are a hip replacement recipient. So everything down the line of that. And like you said, Dad, in terms of how you pay for it, as you are working, you pay for Part A. When you retire and elect Medicare, you get to pay for Part B on a monthly basis if you have Social Security, or on a quarterly basis if you haven't elected Social Security yet. Then people like Rob and Frank in our office help you couple that coverage, because A and B only make up 80% of your medical expenses on Medicare. You need to couple that with a private insurance company using a supplement or a Medicare Advantage plan to help cover that 20% hole and your prescription drugs, so you don't have an 80-20 policy without a maximum out of pocket and no prescription drug coverage. So everyone, except for people that I think let me rephrase that. The only mistake you can make is not coupling your Medicare benefits with an additional policy to create the full protection for you. Choosing the supplement or the Medicare Advantage plan, that's based on the individual, and it's also based on your preference, which is also individualized, I guess, right?
Yeah, it was a good text question.
That's right. Let's hit one final text before we get to our second break.
And our next texter writes, can you tell us about the part of drugs and the maximum out-of-pocket that entails? Yes, the maximum out-of-pocket for drugs this year is going to be $2,100. It was $2,000. It's going up $100 to $2,100. Now, there's a caveat to that. The drugs that you're on must be on the insurer's formulary. If they're not, you'll need to get a formulary exception. But yes, if your drugs are on the formulary, the maximum you will pay will be $2,100. There also is a smoothing provision, so if you're on some high-priced branded drugs and within the first couple of months you're going to hit that $2,100 mark, the pharmacy must make you aware of a smoothing provision where you can take that cost and spread it out over 12 months.
And then the last thing I would say is if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, the maximum out-of-pocket on the medical is not inclusive of the maximum out-of-pocket on the prescriptions. So in the past, there were no caps on how much you could spend on prescription drug benefits, so we didn't even talk about a maximum out of pocket on prescriptions. Now there is one. Let us not confuse the two. The maximum out of pockets that we discuss on Medicare Advantage plans are strictly on the medical side because those vary from plan to plan. There is no variance on the prescription drug side of things. That's $2,100 for everyone if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan or if you're on a prescription drug plan coupled with a supplement. So that one's for all Medicare enrollees. The other is for enrollees per plan.
Good point.
All right.
And with that, we're going to take our second break of the hour, so don't touch that dial. We'll be back with more of your calls, your texts, and our stories after these messages.
Trusted St. Louis home cleaners since 2007 encourage you to take a moment this Veterans Day to remember and honor our brave veterans and active servicemen and women who defend our freedoms and protect our way of life. Green Angel thanks you.
Window Depot USA of St. Louis, installing superior quality windows and doors in the St. Louis area for more than a decade, encourages you to take a moment this Veterans Day to remember and honor our brave veterans and active servicemen and women who defend our freedoms and protect our way of life. Thank you for your service from Window Depot USA of St. Louis.
Truck drivers, wherever you want to take your driving career in 2026, Schneider has an opportunity for you. Our huge selection of driving jobs means you can get the home time that suits your schedule. Choose from daily, weekly, monthly, or sometime in between. Plus, Schneider drivers can choose from dedicated, intermodal, dry van, and tanker options. Don't wait to upgrade your career before the new year. Search jobs and apply now at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Some of my fondest memories as a kid is heading down to the hardware store. You had to pick up a couple of nails, a couple of screws, maybe a gallon of paint, whatever it may be, right? It was your friendly neighborhood hardware store. Well, those don't exist anymore in St. Louis, except for Schnarr's Hardware. They have two locations in Webster Groves and in Clayton Road in Ladue. Schnarr's Hardware is that place where you go in and you can get that bucket of paint, you can get a couple of screws. The advice is always free. And the one thing about Schnarr's Hardware that every single family hardware store used to have, and that is the smell. It smells like a hardware store. It's got the selection. I don't know how they do it. It's a small store, but they got everything you ever need. They got the paint. They got paint matching. They've got big green eggs. They've got screws and nails and everything a hardware store should have. Schnarr's Hardware. 2 locations, 1 great hardware store. Schnarr's Hardware. We'll see you there.
Now, back to Straight Talk on Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, welcome back to the show. We've got our last 7 minutes or so. Our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the Heating Up text line.
And our next texter writes, Part G drugs, are they part of the maximum out-of-pocket? Well, if you're on a supplement plan, you're going to have to stack that with a prescription drug plan. And yes, they provided the caveat that the drugs that you're taking are on the prescription drug plan's formulary, you would be covered by that $2,100 max out-of-pocket. It's very important to make sure that what you're taking is covered by that formulary. And you can quickly see, if you go to the company's website or Medicare.gov, you will see very quickly if it is covered or not. And you'll notice it when you put in your prescriptions, because usually if it isn't covered, you're going to get a price that's like $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. So you'll know right off the bat that something is very, very wrong.
And if you're working with us, Robin, Frank will let you know about that on the front, which is kind of easy.
That's absolutely right.
And our next texter writes, United Healthcare's ST1 Dental, $4,000. What does it cover? Example, I'm getting a crown, and say the crown costs $1,500. Do they cover at a percentage or all of it?
So if you are using an in-network provider, they will cover 50% of the cost up to the $4,000. So in your example, $750 comes out of your pocket, $750 comes out of United.
50-50.
That's right.
Yeah, good to know.
And our next texter writes, what is the maximum out-of-pocket this year for United Healthcare Advantage Medical? Depending on which one you select, it could be $3,200. They have an HMO that does, you don't get very many bells and whistles with that HMO. And they have another one which which does have a lot of bells and whistles, at $3,900. There's also a PPO that has a maximum out-of-pocket of combined, I believe, $8,800 and $6,700 in network. So it's very important to understand which plan you're selecting because there are quite a few of them, and each one is different.
And, Rob, you're the wealth of knowledge here this morning.
That's right.
Yeah.
They've had me chained to my desk. The chains came off Frank, and they were like, here's yours.
Welcome to Medicare.
Right. 1 month to go, everyone.
So we're a little quiet here, right?
We are. We have 4 minutes.
Very good. Well, what I wanted to do then was to share a story that happened to me yesterday afternoon on my way to Norwood.
The golf course?
Yeah, it was after 12 o'clock, and I didn't have any visits, but I did get a phone call from a client while I was in the car. Sally and Joe. They're considering purchasing a new vehicle to replace their 10-year-old SUV. Not unusual. They wanted my input on how to purchase it and where to get the funds to make the purchase. And talking about cars is one of my favorite things, right? So I had to ask them a few details before I could give them some recommendations. First thing was, what was the purchase price? They said it was going to be $34,000, and they were going to be receiving $3,000 for their current vehicle. So we're really looking at about $31,000 as the total cost. So, Rob, what do you think would be my next natural question to ask them?
How many miles do you plan on driving this car each year? Based on their current vehicle use, it seems as though they were averaging less than 10,000 miles per year.
So this is as you can imagine, this is leading me down the should I buy it or should I lease it?
All your favorite of all conversations.
Absolutely. I want to know how much you're driving. So then I went back and I said, what were their thoughts initially about how to pay for this vehicle? And they really didn't want car payments. Not unusual. And they were thinking about taking a lump sum from their savings. However, pulling $31,000 out of their savings really would have depleted their bucket. And naturally, we would be looked at to refill that bucket for them. So where do we go from here? Here are some of my thoughts. The first one was they do have a Roth IRA worth over $100,000. This would be, in my mind, a perfect place to get the money, as the withdrawal would be income tax-free because it's been in existence for more than 5 years. And Sally, as well as Joe, are both over the age of 59 and a half, so there's no penalties in early withdrawal.
Right, but just the owner has to be over 59 and a half if
that's correct.
That gave you a question.
Very good. But what, Rob, you know about my favorite lease to ask them about, right?
It's the old one-pay lease. Instead of forking over $31,000, you could only pay $16,000. At the end of the 3-year term, you have the right to purchase the vehicle with a pre-arranged residual value in the contract. Not a bad deal.
Right, and we could replace that $16,000 if we wanted to, either through increased withdrawals, taxable withdrawals, or we could make a tax-free Roth withdrawal to get them up to speed. Why buy something that you know is going to depreciate by 30% when you can rent it, especially if you're low mileage?
Right, if you're low mileage. Also, if you maybe haven't bought a car in a while and you're trying out something new, why not try it out, rent it, and then if you love it, you already know what the purchase price is going to be. You just flip them the keys, or you keep the keys, give them the cash. Or what happens if you don't love it? Then you don't have to run looking for a buyer.
And again, what will happen is they'll appraise the car at the end of the lease. If it's more valuable than what the residual is that you can buy it for, they'll cut you a check. Or if you want, you can roll that money over towards a new lease. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just did that with my Lexus, which I thought I was going to have to buy, but instead I'm leasing a new car, which is all very cool.
We also had I spoke with a client who they found out the residual, the value of the car is more than the residual, so they bought it and then sold the car. They made the cash. They said that they weren't going to let the car dealer make the money off of them. They were going to do it themselves.
You know, we're in a unique time right now because used cars are very valuable for whatever reason, and that's cool. We don't have a problem with that. So what's important here is that you need to consider what's important to you, payments or not payments, and keeping control of your choices. And I think that actually leasing is one way that you're able to do that. But do us a favor, don't touch that dial. We'll be here back for hour number 2 right after these messages.
Welcome to Straight Talk and Retirement, your no-hype source for financial advice in making informed choices about your retirement planning. Get on the phone to talk today at 314-931-5877 or text your question to 84126.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Now, here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Welcome back, everyone, to hour number 2 of Straight Talk on Retirement. Normally, we reserve this hour for, or this part of the hour, for our smart choices about your health care.
And the text line is certainly front-running us.
The text line is continuing to heat up. We spent quite a bit of time in the first hour talking Medicare, but we're here to give the people what they want, so we're going to keep talking Medicare. If you have questions, 314-931-5877, or keep texting us, 84126 on the text line.
And our next texter writes, I now have a United Healthcare PPO with a max out-of-pocket of $7,100. An increase of over $2,000. The only doctor I have that does not accept the plan is my primary care physician. Why would a doctor not want to be in an HMO? It's hard to change since it's very hard to get another primary care physician since the doctors are not taking new patients. Any suggestions?
Yeah, absolutely. I would look outside of United Healthcare. So no need to switch your primary care physician. I completely agree that many primaries are not taking new patients. This is one of the reasons that some primary care physicians are not electing the to be in HMO networks, especially as providers are as insurers are moving towards the referral process again, because it does put some pressure on the primary care doctors' offices to generate those referrals for their patients. So in my mind, United Healthcare is not the only option for you. I would take a look to see if other insurers are covering your primary care doctor in network. I'm sure there should be a few. There are some PPO-style plans that have a lower maximum out-of-pocket than United, and there are also some HMO plans that have a lower max out-of-pocket. So let's look outside of the United network, or the United universe. You're still going to have the opportunity to change without any medical underwriting. You do want to check those prescriptions, make sure that they're still covered well for you, but I think that you have, and this is an excellent opportunity to take a look. And just like a previous texter wrote, we're seeing new companies enter our market more with force, Humana and Devoted. So take a look there, and hopefully you will be able to find someone that your current primary accepts. Our next texter wrote, hypothetical case, if I am airlifted to a hospital and I pay the $250 copay, will the balance of $40,000 be considered medical and the out-of-pocket will pay the balance? So this is how it will work, hypothetically, because benefits are not determined until the claim is submitted. But let's say that you need to be medevaced or airlifted somewhere, so you are not using the ground transportation, you're using the helicopter, and your plan says that is a $250 copay. You pay $250. That goes towards your out-of-pocket maximum. The balance of the bill is not your responsibility. It is Medicare's and your insurance company's responsibility to pay the provider whatever the balance is there. The piece that you do not pay does not go towards your out-of-pocket maximum. The out-of-pocket maximum is a running tally of your expenses. So the $250 to be medevaced, I'm sure that if you're being medevaced somewhere, you have some other issues going on. So you're probably going to have a hospital stay. That is going to be added to your bill. If you have x-rays, if you have imaging, other things done while you're in the hospital, those are all going to be added to your expense. So most likely, if you are in a situation like that, my guess is that you're coming close to your maximum out of pocket. Other things that you are doing may lead you to get there, but each individual service has a specified cost. All the parts that you pay are going towards your out-of-pocket maximum. Everything else is not your responsibility. Just like if you go to the primary care doctor's office and you pay $0, it doesn't cost $0 to see the primary. It just costs you $0. The insurance company picks up the difference in that for you. But you don't get to charge against your maximum out of pocket what should have been billed. So hopefully that was clear.
I found it very clear.
Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate that. So let's talk a little bit. It's funny because my dad, you all know him as Jeff, stepped out for a moment. But that's who our story is about today.
It is. And, Jeff is currently on the Aetna HMO, as
many people are.
Exactly. But Jeff has got a little bit of a unique situation. He is changing his residency to Florida as of January 2026. So he's going to become a snowbird.
Right. He's not moving to Florida, though. He's just going to take advantage of some of the tax breaks that this beautiful sunny state of Florida provides with his new home down there. He is going to get a Florida driver's license, and
he's going to be a Floridian.
He is going to be a Floridian.
He's already made friends with the resident crocodile that's, taken up residency outside the house. So,
right.
They're on good terms. So,
okay, so he's decided to make a change. Now, he's not going to change his residency until January. So it's not January 1st even. He's going to go down to Florida and January 12th or something, he'll go into the DMV, change his driver's license, and become a Florida resident.
Does he need to do anything now? No.
That's the cool part. So open enrollment is only for individuals that are on Medicare already and won't have access to another election period. So it's your opportunity to make a switch for the upcoming year. But because Dad's going down to another state, he's going to move his service area is going to change. He gets a special election, right?
He does. When you move out of the service area, or if the service area leaves you, i.e. the insurance company no longer services that area, you are given a special enrollment period. So this is outside of normal enrollment periods. You get a special one tailored for you because you had a special qualifying event. In this case, you moved. So
his plan will run through the end of this year.
Yep.
It's going to turn over to the new, so the HMO Gold Advantage is going to become the HMO signature with Aetna. He's going to get that for the first 11 days of the year.
First 2 weeks, he's going to be on that plan. He's going to switch his driver's license and his residency. At that point, he's going to be given his special election period, and he'll be able to choose from whichever provider he would like.
And so if he submits the application in January, February 1st would become his effective date for the new plan, right?
Absolutely.
But there's another wrinkle, right?
He isn't moving to Florida, and he wants to keep his St. Louis doctors.
So like many people that maybe have second homes other places or spend extended amounts of time other places, change their residency to other states, but still want access to St. Louis physicians or Illinois physicians. What happens now?
Well, at that point, we'd have to find a plan that fit in those doctors here that would allow him to plug into that network.
So that means we have to find a Florida-based policy.
Correct.
That will allow him to take his policy with him to other states.
Travel privileges.
So that kind of limits us to United and Aetna, right?
Correct.
But now we've got another wrinkle.
His primary network is BJC.
So his primary care physician is a BJC physician, so maybe, possibly, might be out of network next year.
As it stands right now, the Aetna policy will not service that network unless they reach an 11th-hour deal. I mean, who knows if that... But as it stands, as we're having this conversation today...
Not in network.
Not in network.
So now we're kind of limited to potentially United Healthcare.
You know, this is why, when we talk about personalized choices being personalized to you, in this situation, this is a very specialized case. And as you drill down, your options become narrower.
More narrow?
More narrow. I'm not even going to attempt to
Not
do that
even going to try it again. That's fair. But here's the great thing. There are options. Now,
yes.
And let's put it another way. Dad doesn't have to stick with Medicare Advantage because he has a special election. He could actually go back to the supplement or go to a supplement if he so wanted. But he is one that does not consume a significant amount of care. So the Medicare Advantage plan still makes sense overall for him. Oh, and he's returned triumphantly. We were just chatting about you.
Me in Florida?
Yes, you and Florida.
You're going to be a Floridian. And all that entails.
Just getting into more temperate weather, except for hurricane season.
Oh, we were more reflective of the tax advantages.
That's true.
So we're just we've got a few text questions here that I think we should get to before we have a secondary Medicare topic today because we knew you all were thinking about these things.
And our next texter writes, does special mean not having to go through underwriting or being rated up?
Yes, that is exactly what it means. Now, with Medicare Advantage plans, you are not rated up, nor is there ever an opportunity for medical underwriting because your only opportunities to elect Medicare Advantage plans are through your initial election period, special elections, or annual enrollment or open enrollment. So never, and that's why anyone that's filled out a Medicare Advantage plan application, you don't even see medical questions on there because there's never an opportunity for that. Now, like I just mentioned, if Dad had decided I'd like a supplement instead when I go down to Florida, you do see medical questions on the supplemental policy applications. However, if you have a special election or you're in your initial election period, you don't answer those questions.
So, I'll get rid of that. I won't have to deal with that.
Correct, but we still think you're most likely going to another Medicare Advantage plan.
Well, I'm going to follow the expert's advice here.
We appreciate that.
And our next texter writes, isn't United Healthcare getting out of the Medicare Advantage game beginning next year, so he would have to change again next year?
Absolutely no. United Healthcare is not leaving the Medicare Advantage line of business. Dad, you mentioned this earlier, and it's very true, which is that Medicare Advantage happens to be a very lucrative line of business, as well as all of Medicare for the insurance companies, because they're actually getting revenue from two places, from enrollees, so they get paid from people that are enrolled. Even if you have a zero premium policy, when you are paying for services, you are paying you're helping to offset costs for the insurance company. Medicare Advantage also receives payments from the federal government in order to have people enrolled in those policies. And part of what insurance companies do is manage risk. So through their actuaries, they determine how do we create the benefit structure that is going to offset the costs of maintaining benefits for our enrollees. And that's what they do all day, every day. So we see different carriers doing better or worse jobs of that over time, and that's why we've seen rotation in benefits, we've seen changes in network availability, all of these things, and then also the providers, I forgot to mention, I'm sure Mom's about to text me, pay in to the insurance companies as well. So it's a complicated system, but not one that United wants to leave.
The segment of people retiring is larger than the segment of people being born.
Which is a problem all in of itself, but not for the insurance companies.
I was just thinking that.
No, it certainly isn't, but...
I believe the number is like 250,000 people turn 65 every month in the United States.
It's great. Now, they don't all call our office because we don't have the room.
Our parking lot only has 11 spots.
And it's full, so we'll get to that after after we get through these text messages.
And our next texter writes, as a veteran, are there some Medicare Advantage plans that are more advantageous? There could be, depending on who you're seeing and what you're taking. I've seen that they have specialized Advantage plans, and they'll say it right in the title. It would be like the
Eagle Patriot.
Exactly, or the Honor Veteran, who's the what's it, HMO or PPO plan. So depending on who you're seeing and what you're taking, there could be some advantages that you can take advantage of as a veteran on the Medicare Advantage side. And our next texter writes, if I don't use you as my financial advisor, can I still make an appointment with Frank? And does Frank still have availability up through December 7th? Well, I think we're down to the last week, and when I say the last week, a couple of days that he may have a couple of spots open. But if he doesn't, because I don't have the schedule right in front of me, you're going to be stuck with me.
Stuck with? It sounds like he's trying to get out of some work. Frank's pretty booked up, but Rob still has some availability left. We are looking into, I think for you, Rob, we're looking into the week of Thanksgiving. So the last 2 weeks of open enrollment still have availability in our office. And no, you do not have to be a financial client in order to see Rob or Frank.
At this time.
At the moment. Because we still have availability.
Exactly. And, the key is to give our office a call, 314-863-0008. Schedule that with Kelly. Kelly is going to send you a medical questionnaire and a scope of sales agreement that just allows me to talk to you about Medicare. The Medicare questionnaire is very straightforward, just your basic demographics, what you're taking, who you're seeing. You get that back to Kelly. Kelly gets it over to me. I can prepare for the meeting, and it goes off without a hitch. The only way you lose is if you don't schedule the appointment.
Well, that's a great point. Last question. So, sorry if I'm being repetitive, but is there any chance that BJC will settle with Aetna? Yes. The short answer is yes. Not only is there any chance, I think there is a very decent chance that will happen. I know that it can be stressful for everyone that has Aetna and are using BJC physicians. We are coming down to what we would call the wire on this, and for us not to be repetitive, you have until December 7th to make a decision. We are working with all of our Aetna clients that have BJC physicians that they want to maintain to have a backup option available. But you have a backup option available, which is that if you decide to stick it out through December 7th with your Aetna policy and BJC does not reach an agreement with them, starting January 1st, you can make another change. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan, you can switch to another Medicare Advantage plan. United Healthcare is offering BJC physicians. Humana is offering BJC physicians. Devoted is offering some BJC physicians. And I think Anthem also has BJC in the network, which having
Essence as well.
Essence, thank you. Having listed all of those carriers, that's another reason why it's likely Aetna is going to come to some agreement. They don't want to be the only carrier left out in the cold.
And our next texter writes, I am new to Medicare. Can I switch Advantage plans between January 1st and March 31st?
If you are on a Medicare Advantage plan, if you are enrolled in that plan on December 31st, January 1st, you could make a change. So if you're already on a Medicare Advantage plan, even if you're new, as long as you are on one as of December 31st, January 1st, you still have the opportunity to use that open enrollment period, which is January 1 through March 31st.
Honey, I was going to say this would also apply to somebody who is recently enrolled in a plan, and they're also still eligible for open enrollment as well. Even if they enrolled in their new plan, they just came onto the plan.
Yes.
Let's say December 1, they could actually go to a new plan January 1.
Yes. The rule is that you are on a Medicare Advantage plan. This is a special enrollment period for Medicare Advantage plan enrollees to have a second bite at the apple, because October 15th through December 7th is a relatively small window. This is not an enrollment period that has always been around. So it was reintroduced about 3 years ago, and it doesn't have to stay forever, but for now it is available. So unlike annual enrollment, October 15th through December 7th, that is set in stone, this one can be variable. But for this year, it is available, January 1 through March 31st.
Thank you.
And we just have a quick comment. Our commenter says, "You guys are the best." Well, we try.
Oh, that's a nice one with a lot of exclamation points. I love a compliment.
That's why I had to read it. And we have one more text question. Our texter writes, "One more Aetna question." No, keep them coming. Will Aetna Plan G traditional policies be impacted by the BJC negotiations?
No. If you are on a supplement, so that could be a Plan G, a Plan F, if you have been on Medicare for quite some time, Plan N, A through L, literally A through L. If you're on any supplement, your network is Medicare. It is not tied to insurance company negotiations with hospital systems. So if your physician takes Medicare, they will take you. You do not have to, you are not impacted by network negotiations.
And we have another comment. Our commenter says, "Those out-of-state tax advantages must be why I see so many Texas license plates these days."
Could be business owner thing. I'm not aware of Texas having.
Does Texas? I didn't think Texas was an income. I don't think they're income tax.
That's what I thought.
I think it's just a few states, like 7, right?
Yes, but they're
Florida being one.
But they are more business friendly, so you could see business owners that are doing that.
And our next texter writes, "What is the difference between a PPO and an HMO plan?" Well, HMO is a health maintenance organization. That means you're going to have a network, and you're going to have to stay within it. If you go without it, if you go outside of it, you are responsible for 100% of those costs. A PPO is a preferred provider organization that has a network, but you can also go outside of it, and there's a cost-sharing arrangement. If you go outside of it, that will be covered by a maximum out-of-pocket that will cover the network cost and the out-of-network costs.
Man, you trained him good.
Thanks. The only caveat I would add to that is that even with the HMO, if you go out of network, as long as it is an emergency or an urgency, so ER or urgent care, you'll have in-network coverage with the HMO. But one thing that we have found out, and this is the only way that we learn new things, one of the only ways we get to learn new things is, Dad, have you ever heard of convenient care before?
Nope.
Yeah, either had I. So we have a client that is enjoying her retirement in Arizona. And she was enjoying her retirement so much she went on a trip to, I think it was Wyoming. And she wasn't feeling so well. So she thought she went to an urgent care facility, but in fact it was a convenient care facility.
Okay.
So they didn't cover it?
So
correct.
It wasn't designated by the insurer as a
not designated by the insurer as an urgent care facility. So it was billed as out of network, and she had an HMO, which, like Rob just mentioned, you're responsible for 100% of those costs. Now, obviously, we're going to be having an argument with not only the insurance company but the provider, because the convenient care facility said, "We take your policy, no problem." Didn't let her know that it was out of network. So we're going to be doing those appeals for her. Right now we're in that process, but it is important that if you are out of state, out of the network, and you have an HMO, not a supplement, not a PPO, that you clarify with the person that when you walk in the door because you need the strep test or you've got a cold or the flu maybe, are you an urgent care provider? Make sure that's the case so that way you get those charges covered for you.
Honey, I'd even go a step further.
What's that?
If you're with a carrier like Aetna or United Healthcare that have networks all over the country, you should be able to check in the state that you're at to find out what hospitals and or care facilities are covered by the plan, and therefore you're going to the right place. I mean, unfortunately, when you're in an urgent situation, typically you're like, take me to the closest whatever, but that's not really the case.
Well, you just jogged my thought, which is why Aetna is one of those companies that even if you're out of network, you're supposed to be able, you have a national network that you get to hook into. If the provider said they take Aetna, then why wasn't she billed at in-network prices for all of the services?
We'll find out.
Yes, we will.
And we'll report back on this one, by the way, because it's an interesting twist.
Yes, it is. And I think it's important because this is the only way that we know how the policies are put to use. Unfortunately, I don't get to use the policies. Frank and Rob aren't quite old enough yet either to use the policies. So this way we get to find out the nuances and at the very least warn you or give you good tips and tricks as to how to most effectively navigate your care.
And we have a texter sent in a comment. Texas has no personal property tax and also no state income tax, I believe.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
We'll have to Google that.
Yeah, we'll find that. We'll get clarity on that and see how many Missouri residents flee to Texas.
We knew some local business owners that were registering their cars out of state to avoid the personal property tax, and I didn't think that was such a bad idea.
Yes, but I have also heard that they're cracking down on stuff like that.
Texas does not have a state income tax on individuals or corporations. This
Maybe
is
that
explicitly forbidden by the Texas state constitution. They're one of 9 states
we
that
love
do
Texas.
not. Love Google. That do not have a broad-based personal income tax. That's good to know.
That is great to know. Let's hit our last text question before we go to our first break.
And our texter writes, if you are on Social Security disability and have a Plan G, is this the time for your open enrollment too?
For your prescription drug plan, but not for your supplement. Supplements do not have open enrollment periods. So if you're interested in looking at a Medicare Advantage plan, now is the time to take a look. Say you want to give up your supplement and your prescription drug plan and move to something that combines medical and prescription together through Medicare Advantage, now is the time. If you just want to take a look at your prescription drug plan, now is the time. But your supplement is not subject to open enrollment, so you can't make switches then. If you live in Missouri, at your anniversary date on the supplement, you can make a switch to another carrier, but you'll still have to stay with the same Plan G that you have. Unfortunately, that's not available to you if you are in Illinois.
Good to know.
And with that, I think we should take our first break of the hour, but keep those texts and calls coming. We'll be back after these brief messages.
The retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email at aaron@jblfinancial.com to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
This is Mariah, third generation at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. Buying an engagement ring can be intimidating. At Newsteaders, we ensure complete understanding of your purchase. We offer a choice in both lab and mine-grown diamonds and are able to work with any budget. Let our family help educate you on your choice at Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
Brown & Brown Personal Injury Attorneys salute all veterans active and retired. If you've been hurt on the road or at work, please call them today. You can reach them right now at 314-333-3333 or chat with them online at brownlawoffice.com.
Mizzou basketball on the Big 550 KTRS is powered by Graybar. Graybar.
On the run, Mitchell for the force, Missouri by 20.
Sunday, Mizzou tips off against Virginia Military Institute at 1 p.m. Pre-game begins at 12:30 p.m.
Drives right baseline to the rim. Jams it.
Catch all the action right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Presented by Graybar for all your electrical and datacom solutions.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, that you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email, jeff@jblfinancial.com, to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, welcome back to the show. It's 10:34 here on the Big 550, KTRS. We're here to answer your calls and your questions. Lots of questions about Medicare today. It's not unusual. We are one of the leading organizations to write Medicare plans, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes.
Yes.
Here in the state, which is very cool. Obviously, I'm really honored by the work that we do on that for our listeners. Over 4,000 of them are currently our clients, which is really cool. Our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. But we do have a caller on the line.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. I'd like Jeff to answer this question. Jeff, could you make an argument on when it really makes sense to have just a Plan G supplement?
Sure. Love to.
I believe you're locked out after you switch to an Advantage to try to get back to one, and that seems interesting in the advantage of the insurance companies. But let's make an argument for someone who's, say, 70 years old, has been on an Advantage plan and really wants to. When does it make sense for that person to be on Plan G? And, of course, what would happen if he got serious, if he could predict the future and know that there's a serious illness coming?
Okay. I think that's a very good question. And what I would suggest here is a couple things. And this is what my daughter would say.
Oh.
You've been covered by an Advantage plan for many years. Most likely you haven't attempted to switch back because you haven't been hitting your maximum out-of-pocket expense. If you know that with Plan G you have a deductible, but you're also paying a premium. You have to remember that. So if you're paying $200 a month or whatever it would be, you're paying $2,400 a year plus your Plan G deductible. This is very similar to the out-of-pocket expense in current Medicare Advantage plans. So I would say that even though you might feel, oh, my God, I'm going to have this security because the insurance company is going to pick up it after 100%, well, you're front-running the money to them through your monthly premium. Can you go back? The answer is yes, if you can pass medical underwriting.
Yes.
It's not easy peasy, but at the end of the day, we know that people can do it. We have seen that happen a few times, but the truth is, why go back?
We've seen it happen a few times because we've only had a few people that want to do it.
Right. And then when you also consider the other, we call them the goodies, okay, that have been added to these plans, not including, we're talking about
dental, vision, hearing, silver sneakers,
and
over-the-counter, Rob's favorite.
Thank you, over-the-counter benefits. For many people, those benefits can exceed the actual out-of-pocket costs.
You know what? That's the
and that's kind of
everyone
cool.
Mark your calendars. Next week, we're going to do a comparison of what we consider the two top Medicare Advantage plans, what they give you versus what you have to give them, which would be out-of-pocket maximums.
So, but I do need to answer Steve's question.
Right. When would it make sense to select a supplement?
The only reason, assuming that you could qualify to switch back, is if all your doctors left the network. They did.
No,
they said,
why would you initially take it? Or why would you?
Well, I don't think that's what he was at. He said, I was on, I want to switch back. My only reason I would switch back is because my doctors decided not to participate in the plans.
In any plan.
And so, therefore, I'd be stuck going to a PPO, and that would maybe have a higher out-of-pocket maximum, especially if I knew that I was, I was going to have claims. But I guess, Aaron, my question back to you is it possible that the PPO benefit, the more expensive side, would only apply to physician charges, whereas the hospital side, if I'm going to network participating hospitals, those get covered on the in-network side?
So it depends upon how you've reached that claim. So, for example, and Rob and I have talked about this extensively, if you are using out-of-network benefits and your physician is, let's say you have a specialist that's out-of-network, and he's prescribing tests or recommending tests. Those are all going to be billed out of network, even if you use an in-network facility. However, if you were admitted to the hospital and it's an in-network hospital because you went through the ER, that is going to be covered as an in-network charge.
And most likely, if you're getting admitted to the hospital, it's probably with some type of a other professional other than a specialist, other than your internist. And so, therefore, you want to make sure to get the in-network benefits is that an in-network specialist was actually admitting you into the hospital, correct?
Yes. I want to go back to your math a little bit, Dad, on the Medicare Advantage versus the supplement.
Please.
Which is, let's just say all in, and this is low, because Rob will chime in here in a second, which is, let's say it's $200 a month for your Medicare supplement plus your prescription drug plan. So you have $2,400 a year. In the upcoming year, we know that maximum out-of-pockets on the Medicare Advantage plans are running about $3,000. That's a one-year comparison. You paid $2,400 to the insurance company versus a potential expense of $3,000.
You have to include the Part G deductible.
Oh, but let's not even do that, because let's extrapolate. So Aetna and United Healthcare have both given us internal numbers that say, on average, their enrollees hit their maximum out-of-pocket one time every 7 years. So let's just say that of that $2,400, let's reduce it and say you were spending at least $400 a year on co-pays to the doctor, some labs, some x-rays. So $2,000 a year times 6 is $12,000. $12,000 that you paid, that you would have paid the insurance company if you had a supplement that you didn't have to pay. How many maximum out-of-pockets is that? That's 4, right?
Absolutely. Yep. And you're not even factoring in the fact that these people on a supplement are on an escalator, and for the longest time we saw rate increases between 3 and 7%. We were reliably informed all throughout last year that was going to change, and between 8 and 15% is going to be the new norm. So just using a nice 5-year period, you could see, if we just take the lower end of that spectrum, we'll say it went up 10% a year. In 5 years, you're paying 50% more. So now your $200 premium is now $300. And that doesn't stop. So if we were to extrapolate a 10-year period, it's 100% gain, and we still have to stack that Part D premium on top of that. Why front run the cost? I mean, every year could be the worst year of your life medically, but I would rather play the averages of that 1 in 7. I'm only going to hit that max out of pocket once every 7 years and try and bank those other 6 years. But again, it's a personal choice for people and how much money do they really want to spend. And
then as just a side note, we spend so much time talking about Medicare Advantage plans because they are more complicated. We're happy to show, not happy to, we show every person that comes to our office that is newly enrolling in Medicare, both the supplement and the Medicare Advantage plan options. But supplements are easy. You pay the insurance company. Pick your premium. They pick the premium for you. Decide if you'd like to pay it or not. That it's pretty simple. So that's why we spend an extended amount of time talking about Medicare Advantage. Also, especially during open enrollment, because supplements are not subject to open enrollment, meaning you're not switching your Medicare supplement without underwriting during this October 15th through December 7th period. To us, it makes more sense to talk to the people that are needing to make decisions about their Medicare Advantage plans at this particular point.
Good.
We've got one more text, and then let's hit your topic, Dan.
Terrific.
And our texter writes, hello, I am retiring at the end of February this coming year when I turn 67, and my wife is 72. We are both currently on a company medical plan. We are looking at open enrollment now for my company plan. Are there any reasons other than the cost for us to switch over to Medicare and Medicare Advantage at the end of the year versus the end of February when I retire?
No.
Other than cost, I think that's a very good point. That would be the only comparison that I would make is cost. If it would be less expensive for you to hop on Medicare starting January 1, but most likely that's not the case because you're already Medicare eligible, so I assumed you would have probably done that math back 2 years ago when you turned 65, had the opportunity for your wife to hop off with you and jump onto Medicare then. But the company let the company keep supporting the premium for you, and that's usually what happens when you're on employer-based coverage.
Yeah, the only thing I would see is the spouse, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of coverage would be more than basically Medicare premium. But the truth of the matter is it's only 1 month.
Right.
I mean,
or 2, because you're retiring in February, so you probably get coverage through the end of the month.
Don't create extra paperwork for yourself or aggravation. Stay on it for a couple months. You'll be good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before we get to you, we have one more, and this is just a great one. It's for you, Dad.
Beautiful.
And our texter writes, congratulations to Jeff on the new chapter in his life. Since he will be residing in Florida, will he be stepping aside from the business and turning it over to Aaron and Rob?
Well, the answer is no.
What would you do all day?
The answer is no and yes. I've already turned the business over to Aaron and Rob. It's happened about 2 years ago. Will I be retiring? The answer is no. I love my work. I enjoy what I do, and frankly, I couldn't play golf 5 days a week during the week because I'm not really that good. And number two is I'm 68 years old, so I don't have the, I don't have the flexibility, the whatever it would be. So the answer is I will be working.
I like to say you're John Madden, Dad. You never worked a day in your life. You love. I think it's fair to say that you're one of those very lucky people that love what you do, so it's not work.
Yeah, not. Also, aside the fact that I own the building where the company is, and they have a 20-year lease with me, so they're not going anywhere.
A 20-year lease.
And,
when did I sign that?
But I did get. Well, I signed it, but I did before I turned the company over.
Does that make it still a valid contract?
Absolutely.
Interesting.
I signed it in good faith with me, as it would be. But the only caveat is they're not allowed to give away my room.
Yeah, I'll keep it warm for you while you're in Florida.
I understand that, but
we're not giving it away so much as bequeathing it.
Well, and look, the routine's going to continue. I currently do all Zoom and telephone appointments
while you're down in Florida.
I hold the same number. I keep the same hours that I do up here, and life is good. So
you're not really moving to Florida so much as having a second residence there. You'll still spend the majority of the time here with us, where we'd like you to be.
Well, I'll be spending 362 days or 162 days or etc. But that's
the required amount.
Yes,
to have Florida residency,
so that I can get the proper tax deduction and not be on tape here with the state of Missouri.
You're going to have the best weather all year round. You're going to be down there for our winter. You'll be enjoying summer, and then when the weather begins to turn here, you get to come back and enjoy that.
Exactly. Net of hurricane season, which is all
net good. Hurricane season, and let's
do break number 2, and then we'll come
our
back.
Next break.
So don't touch that dial. We're going to be back with more Straight Talk on Retirement right after these brief messages.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, that you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email, jeff@jblfinancial.com, to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Don't wait for Black Friday. Beat the crowds. At Miller Furniture and Mattress, you get Black Friday savings all month long.
I'm Mark Miller, owner of Miller Furniture, your home for quality American-made furniture since 1927. Right now, save up to $2,000 on in-stock items.
Save on custom orders, too, with 60 months financing.
Check out our Black Friday doorbusters for every room in the house, like Flex Steel reclining sofas for just $19.99. And Amish-made, tariff-free furniture that you won't find at any other store in the St. Louis area.
Right now, Chatham & Wells luxury mattresses are 25% off, or save up to $900 on select mattress sets from Tempur-Pedic and Stearns & Foster.
Visit any of our 4 showrooms in Belleville, Fairview Heights, Lake St. Louis, or Ellisville and save on over $8 million of inventory. Plus, custom Amish furniture in just 3 weeks? You can still have it in your home this holiday season.
Don't miss the Black Friday sale at Miller Furniture, now through December 2nd.
At Miller Furniture, we put the family in furniture.
Window Depot USA of St. Louis, installing superior quality windows and doors in the St. Louis area for more than a decade, encourages you to take a moment this Veterans Day to remember and honor our brave veterans and active servicemen and women who defend our freedoms and protect our way of life. Thank you for your service from Window Depot USA of St. Louis.
Royal Banks of Missouri is proudly reinvesting in its hometown of University City. Their new branch at 8550 Olive Boulevard is now open to serve you. Visit their team in University City to discover how they can help you refresh your finances and invest in your future today. Call 314-212-1500 or go to royalbanksofmo.com for more information. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
This Veterans Day, please join Milo's Bocce Garden on the Hill in taking a moment to remember and honor our brave veterans and active servicemen and women who defend our freedoms and protect our way of life. Thank you for your service from Milo's Bocce Garden on the Hill.
Now, back to Straight Talk on Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Welcome back. We're in the last 10 minutes of the show. Thanks so much for taking your time tuning in with us this morning. Our phone lines are open. We would love to hear from you, 314-931-5877, or our text line, 84126. And just as a reminder, I am Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach.
I'm Aaron Lapidus, the retirement coach.
And I'm Robert Markham, your life insurance and fixed annuities sales specialist.
I think I wanted to do something this morning that is a little unusual, and I'm sure it's also something that you've probably never heard on the radio.
Oh.
I want to tell you how we get paid. Up front, real easy. As you know, Aaron and Rob and I are registered investment advisor representatives, which means that we've been licensed with the Securities and Exchange Commission. We've taken tests, done education, and we are permitted to charge fees. For the investment advisory work that we do, helping our clients with their financial planning and investing their money, we charge 1% per year of the assets that we manage. And that's not a secret. You've heard the show before. It's 0.25% per quarter based on the account value at the end of that quarter. But we're also licensed insurance agents for life and health insurance. And Rob and Aaron also do the whole Medicare Advantage thing in the state of Missouri as well as Illinois and other places. When we sell a Medicare supplement or a Medicare Advantage plan, we are paid a commission by the insurance company.
Which is set by the Center for Medicare Services, which is a division of the federal government.
We never charge a fee.
Cannot.
We're not permitted to. That's exactly right. So, and it isn't significant. We make approximately
$625 for Medicare Advantage plans.
In the first year.
Yes.
And we also receive a renewal commission for every year that you continue with that plan.
About $100.
About $100. So not a lot of money, but when you have thousands of people, whoop, life is good.
That's right.
Medicare supplements work a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
When you choose a Medicare supplement plan, we receive a commission.
Yes, it
as a percentage of the premium.
Percentage of the premium can vary. Now, this one's not regulated by the federal government, interestingly enough. So many people think that Medicare Advantage plans are more lucrative. However, they're more highly regulated by the federal government. The supplements are less so because they're considered insurance contracts. So depending upon the supplemental company that you purchase, the initial premium the initial payment can run anywhere from 10 to 15%. Then it drops down to about 5% of premium on an annual basis,
which is about the same as a Medicare Advantage plan.
Correct. And in addition to that, because our practice is large enough, we often receive bonuses for the contracts that we write per contract. So supplements can actually be a little bit more lucrative on the first year than the Medicare Advantage plans.
What's important here and what I wanted to get across to folks today is if you enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan with someone other than Aaron or Rob or Frank, we cannot take over as your agent. They won't pay us. But with a Medicare supplement plan, the answer is we can. So for folks that come and visit with us, they usually are looking at if they have a supplement, will they continue with that supplement? And is their drug coverage, their Part D coverage, as competitive as it should be? And those plans pay almost nothing.
Correct. And most of the insurance companies have moved to actually literally paying zero.
Yeah. I mean, we're less than like $1 a month. I mean, it's crazy. We love to see those folks anyways, because we do have a opportunity, and we will ask you, if you're coming to see us and you want us to help you, guess what? We want to be your agent.
Yep.
Because the insurance company will then pay us that renewal commission, and we can continue to do so.
And we consider the coverage bundled. If you select a supplemental policy, you do not have complete coverage without a prescription drug plan with it. If the insurance companies aren't going to pay us on the prescription side, that's fine. We still need to help you find something, and it's still our responsibility in the future to continue to help you ensure that you're in the right prescription drug plan. But as in all things, we would like to be paid for our services, so the way we see that payment is through the supplement.
And the nice part is when you do hire us, that means we're on the payroll.
That's right.
So we're receiving a renewal commission. We're going to be keeping you up to date in terms of changes. We're also going to help you if you happen to run into any snags when it comes to your coverage.
Absolutely. Sometimes you do need an advocate, and I know Frank and I were working diligently for one of our Medicare clients. He was having a big issue with recovering green fees that were covered.
Goodness.
And it went back and forth. And, he came into the office and he's like, I'm sorry to do this to you guys. And it's like, don't be sorry at all. This is why you chose us. This is why you're here. That's why we're here.
That's right.
Sometimes you need an advocate, and we've got sharp elbows. We're ready to get in there and jump in the ring and do the heavy lifting so you don't have to. And that's why I always say the only way you lose in this process is if you don't work with a registered Medicare agent.
And the reason I wanted to bring this up today was I'm very proud. I'm coming into work, and what happens is our parking lot is full.
I'm having to come into work early
to keep our spaces, right.
Not only keep our spaces, but there are people coming in every hour to see Frank and Rob. It's getting loud in the office. I need quiet. Got to do some work before we come in.
It's wonderful to do this. And the other day, somebody came out, and of course I'm standing outside trying to get some fresh air. And they mentioned to me about and I asked them how did the meeting go, and they said they were very pleased, etc. And they were more pleased in finding out that they could actually hire us.
Yeah.
So the truth is, if you do have a existing supplement plan,
mm-hmm.
we can become a member of your team. And the truth is, we have the expectation that we're going to become members of your team.
That's right.
So when you do come in for that review, we're going to be all ready for you.
Yep.
And what was interesting is these folks said the reason we're here is because our agent said they're not getting paid to do this.
So we're not.
Which is not even true. They get a renewal commission because they had a supplement, or if it was an advance plan.
Right, they get the renewal on the sub,
right.
But they might. It is true that the Medicare prescription drug plans, many of the commissions have been completely cut out of those. But like I said, we consider this a holistic piece of your medical and prescription. So let's get to some of our text.
And our next texter writes, we recently met with Frank in the hope of comparing our current Aetna plan with a similar Humana plan. It would have been helpful to receive a printed side-by-side comparison of the two plans rather than trying to understand the differences on a computer screen. The process seemed rather disjointed.
I completely understand that, but unfortunately, some things are out of our control. We are not allowed to produce side-by-side comparisons that are not pre-approved by the Center for Medicare Services. Like I mentioned just a moment ago on the commission side of things, Medicare Advantage is highly regulated by the federal government. Frank, Rob, and myself have to pass exams every single year in order to maintain our ability to talk and sell Medicare Advantage plans. We also are highly regulated in how we can market them, how we can describe them to you, which is why when you come in to see Frank, and when you see Rob, they're often using not only the Medicare.gov website, but the plan provider websites themselves, because we're strictly prohibited from coming up with our own comparisons in the concern that we might create a comparison that leaves something out. And so
that could be considered misleading.
Right, which would be considered misleading. And not only do we not want to do that because we want to make sure that you're getting complete information, we don't like to get run afoul of the regulators. So,
absolutely. And again, it's not easy.
No, it's not. But you know what is easy? If you are still comparing your Medicare choices, if our texter is still trying to make that decision between Aetna and Humana, and you would like some additional help or you'd like some initial help, Rob has time on his calendar from now until December 7th. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us, 863-0008. We'd be more than happy to get an appointment scheduled for you so you can go over all of your options. If you'd like to come into the office, have a phone appointment or a Zoom appointment, we can accommodate all of those. So please tune in next week to our show, Straight Talk on Retirement. We'll be back here at 9 a.m.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Be listening next week at 9 for more Straight Talk on Retirement with your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus, on the Big 550 KTRS.